What's up, guys? Love the locker room, enjoy a punt, and you're looking for a way to support the show but also join the best punting experience in Australia? Inbox me for details on how to get started. Sweet. What is going on? I am here with Luke Keary. What's going on, brother?
Nah, not much. Just cruising around.
We've been sitting here for honestly 2 hours talking already, so we'll just air that.
Lucky I didn't get that on camera.
Oh my god, 100%. So yeah, what's been going on? Origin around the corner. Are you pumped for that?
Yeah, I can't wait, man. Obviously, doing the preseason with Piercy and Boydo and that.
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch the boys go around naps.
First
game in Origin. I can't wait to see the big redhead go.
Is he, like I was saying, I made a little video last night talking about how much I love that selection of him at 8 and how he could possibly be this generation's raging bull. Is he a little bit crazy? Does he have a little bit of craziness in him? None.
Nada. No, he's a nutter.
Oh, he's a nutter. Yes, I thought so.
Typical redhead.
Mate, it's just got it in, eh? You know, you can just see in some blokes' eyes that little bit looseness. He looks like he's got that.
He's dead set. I reckon he's like an American footballer stuck in a
white fella's body.
Body, yuck. Because he's Cook Island. He's got Cook Island in him.
Oh, he does too, doesn't he?
So
that's crazy,
he's a
eh?
gangster, man.
That's sick, man. And obviously Boyd Cordner. I mean, I'm obviously a Queenslander, but I think it's such a good selection as him captain. I mean, I don't know if you've spoken to him, but as a teammate, is that something that you're stoked for him to be able to achieve?
Yeah. He's kind of probably next in line, but he's a proper beast on the field. Like,
ridiculous.
I haven't seen probably the one that's near him that kind of reminds me. Him and Sam Burgess are real similar.
Yeah.
In terms of like toughness and mental toughness on the field.
Yeah.
He's played 80 for us every week, I think.
Is there any stories of like stuff he's played with, like broken hands?
I'm not sure about Boydo, but he's just like an animal, man. Like he'll be like, honestly, like when you're that tired on the field and you just like, I need a set here to just kind of
chill.
He will take a hit up and
just loves it.
Chase, get into it.
Yeah, and
if you don't come with him, he's India.
Exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Exactly what you need. You know what's crazy is like usually you get one or the other. Like as in a guy like Boyd Corner, he's real tough, but he may not. Most likely, usually stereotype, doesn't have good footwork.
Yeah.
Isn't a good line runner. Just runs straight. Like
he's got it all.
Whereas he has it all. Yeah, he can run mad lines, kind of like Burgess. They run mad lines, pass, step, footwork, fend. He's
and he's 24 years old.
It's ridiculous, man.
No, he's a country boy too, old bar, so.
Oh, okay.
He's down to earth.
Yeah, mate, country.
Loves a beer.
You know what I always wondered is like, country people have this like mad reputation. But like, what about city people? Like, how come they have a shit rep?
We are mad.
Like, why are country lads are always honest and city people are like all dodgy and stuff?
Dodgy.
Like, what? Who started that stereotype?
I don't know where that's
like. If you come from the country, you can always just be like, yeah, he's a country lad. Oh, is he? You must be a good bloke.
Must be down there.
It's like a dude from the city. He's from the city.
Oh, he's dodgy.
Don't trust him, bro. Don't trust him, mate. 100%. It's bullshit. I'm from the Gold Coast, mate. The mean streets of Gold Coast. No, I'm actually like from Mudgeeraba, which is like the hinterland. So you could say I'm half country, half city. The perfect mix, mate. So obviously you've been having one of the probably career best form, even though he's won the comp that year. But would you say, obviously you're not going to talk yourself up, but would you feel like you're in the best position right now in your career? You feel the best on the field and everything like that?
Definitely. I think just the type of footy that. And probably consistent this year compared to other years. I'm not thinking about at the moment that this is the best form I'm in or this is the best I've played. But like in terms of consistency and what I actually want to do on the field each week, I'm doing the things that I want to do, and I'm real clear in my head about what I need to do. Like Robbo and the other coaches have made it real clear, and I think I'm getting the things I want out of the games on the weekend, which I haven't in other cases.
Yeah, it's kind of it's weird because like it's hard to explain to maybe fans watching because they just see the outside in, but there is a sense when you are struggling, not even struggling for form, but sometimes you can have a bit of confusion as to like what your role is or purpose. Yeah. And then some years you're like, I know every week exactly what I'm turning up to do and what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and where I need to be. And that's so clearly is that something that you felt at the Roosters? Was it something you grew into so far, or from the get-go you just felt comfortable?
Well, what you said, like you can be going out there playing footy and walk off and be like, I did everything I could have done today. But to other people and that you didn't play well because you know you didn't get the tries or the try assists or the line breaks or things like that, and you can be confused as to be like, why am I not playing well? But I'm actually doing the things that I wanted to, like I said, I was going to do on the Thursday or Friday before the game. And sometimes it's not. It's hard to say, but you're not clear on your role and you're confused
100%.
And how to get the result that you're actually looking for inside your head. But from the first week I got here, they sat me down and said, "This is how we want you to play. This is the way we want you to play. This is what you need to do, and this is what you need to work on to do it in the next 3 or 4 months."
And was that your coach?
That was Robbo, Justin Holbrook.
Okay.
And obviously Justo's gone now, so JT's in there. But they told me, and I just knew exactly what I was doing, and I knew I got the confidence in the preseason that I knew I was going to be able to do that every week.
Okay, yeah.
And in the end, you can't, if you can go out there and do what they say to do, and it doesn't work, well, you know you've done everything you can. But
and then there's tweaking.
And if it works, well, it works.
100%. Yeah, it's weird like that.
It's just a weird.
And I feel like sometimes if you are playing well, you're actually trying less. And sometimes when you seem to be struggling for form or whatever, outside in saying struggling for form, you're going a million miles an hour and you're trying a bit too hard sometimes. Yeah. Like you're just trying things.
I think I've got a grasp around all that stuff in the last probably 12 months with clear head. Like not overthinking, but you got a million things going through your head before a game of what you want to do. And I want to do this, I want to do this, I'm going to go do this. Yeah. Whereas if you prep during the week, you get all that stuff done, then for the 24 hours before the game, you're just clear and you're not thinking about anything that you have to do. Yeah. And you will go out there and you should be able to do it. It should be in your head.
Yeah, 100%. I remember Wayne used to say to us as wingers, I just need you to do 10 hit-ups in this half. Just do 10.
Things will come on the back of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the only thing, like do 10 hit-ups, make all your tackles. That's all I want from you. And it's like such a thing of clarity where you're like, is that all I need to do? It's like, whereas like when you start like adding, I need a try assist here, I need this. Yeah, so it's crazy. Gets crazy like that. Okay, so take us back to a young Ipswich boy. What was it like growing up in Ipswich?
Yeah, I wasn't there for long, but it was some good times. See, Ipswich, two brothers were born there. Mum and dad's brothers and sisters there. So all my family. We come up when I was about 8 years old, I think, to Sydney. So I don't remember too much of Queensland. Running around with brothers Ipswich.
Yeah, I guess 8 years old. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, where'd you grow up in Sydney then?
I was out northwest, like Castle Hill area.
Okay.
Grew up. So all my mates still back there and floating around. But yeah, good childhood and just heaps of sport and footy and cricket and everything else I could get my hands on.
So what age did you start playing? Did you start playing footy at an early age or cricket at an early age?
Yeah, footy was like 6. Like you just play all through those mini league and then you go into modern and senior. And then cricket would have started probably a bit older, maybe 10, 11. But yeah, it was just cricket in the summer and footy in the winter.
It's like the most Australian upbringing ever. Footy and cricket, literally.
That was it.
So what about school-wise? Did you excel at the school? Was it something, or was it always like, I go to school and I do the best I can, but sport is where I want to be?
Yeah, it was like that for me. I'm at uni now, so I mustn't have gone too badly. It was footy and cricket and whatever else. But yeah, I love school because I had all my best mates there every day and we got to hang out for 6 or 7 years in high school.
Yeah, mum made you food. Yeah, you just had everything done for you. Rocked up to school.
It was the best. Yeah, we all played rugby together at school. So.
Yeah, 100%. And so when was the moment, when did you, obviously there's some kids that are freaks from the bat and you're just like, he's going to be good. And or some freaks, they peter out. What was it like for you? Were you just a battler doing his job growing up, or were you went all right?
So when I got to high school, I went to a big rugby union high school. And obviously all your best mates are at high school with you. Like league kind of took it back. So I didn't really play much rugby league from 13 to 17 or 18 when I finished. So rugby union was our big thing. And it was like if you're playing rugby union, you're not playing sport outside of school really. Yep, they weren't the rules, but everyone was playing rugby union. So I'd play a little bit of rugby league, like an SG ball comp at the start of the year for 8 weeks or whatever, and then just go play union for the rest of the year. And I really enjoyed. It was like as a kid, you want to be a rugby league player, but like during those high school years, it was more about
union.
I just want to have fun with my mates.
Really?
Go out, party with them after the game.
Okay.
And, like, if something comes of it,
so you wasn't
sick.
You weren't like, so for example, me personally, like all through high school, like I was an elite athlete. I didn't go out at all.
Yeah.
I didn't party. I had no mates. I still got no mates, but I didn't go out or anything. And my whole life was focused towards sport. Whereas was yours more of like, don't get me wrong, it was good, but you were with your mates and just having a good time.
So I was it was weird to say, but when I was like 10, 11, 12, before I got to high school, I would say, I was like, I wanted to be a sports player, a rugby league player or a cricket player. And then when I got to high school, I was just like you had a couple little injuries or whatever when you were younger, but I was just like, I just want to have fun with you. I still remember thinking, I was like, I just want to go out with my mates every single weekend on Friday and Saturday night. Like, I want to play footy with them for the rest of my life. Like, play school footy with them and just cruise. And I remember even like play the rep rugby league stuff. I was like, I'll play it. If something happens, sweet. If it doesn't, I've still got
me mates.
And like I can go have a drink with them
Really?
and roll. And it was like that probably when I finished school. Like I got to make the Australian Schoolboys Rugby Union team, which was like, I was like, fuck, this is cool.
Yeah.
But it was still, I still was stuck. Like I still wanted to just go out with your mates and that. I honestly never thought, I never thought, fuck, I'll make this team, then I can maybe make the Waratahs and then I can play
really?
Super
So it
Rugby.
just never crossed your mind,
I just
really?
thought, I've made this team. I was go on this tour. This would be a sick tour. Like,
wow, that's crazy. Well, when did it click for you then? When was it like?
So I went to that, and then I wanted to play rugby league after school. So, like, obviously, all the boys finish school, half of them don't play anymore. Oh, what do I do now? Like, what do I do now?
Most of the boys go and put on weight.
Yeah, who do I play with now? And then, like, through me manager and someone else. Oh no, I didn't even have a manager at the time. Through one of my family friends, he knew a coach up at Goldie who was coaching the Burleigh Bears.
Oh, yep.
And that he apparently said, because I said, I want to kind of get out of Sydney, like just finished school, like let's go live on the Goldie and have a mad time.
Oh, mate, best place ever.
I remember Mum and Dad drove me up to Burleigh, and the coach was like, oh, actually I met him. I was at Schoolies, it was like day 3 or 4, and the coach rang me and was like, oh, come to the Blees Club and meet me. I was like, oh, here we go.
What, during Schoolies?
During Schoolies. So I jumped in a cab, went down and met him. Like, thank God, he was a pisshead too. So we were just cruising, and he was like,
you wigging?
I was wigging. I was wigging.
Because like you go in there to play, and you rocked up. Your eyes are like literally like that.
It was all right, but and then he was like, come up at Christmas. We're going into a camp. So I didn't train pre-Christmas. I was with Waratahs Academy or something, which was awful. And then I remember Mum and Dad drove me up, and we got to the Burleigh footy oval or whatever it was, and there was a bus there, and then I was like, grabbed all my stuff that I moved everything, all my clothes, and I was like, they're like, so do you know where you're living in that? And I was like, nah, like I'm going on this camp for 2 days. I'm sure one of the boys will let me sleep at his house or something. And the coach was like, oh, we'll sort him out, like don't worry about it. So Mum and Dad were like, yeah, sweet.
So how did how did the communication break? Like, were your parents were they to you just like, oh, you'll find a place? Or
no, so when we were sorting it out, it was like, the coach was like, nah, don't worry, we'll sort of place out for him. And I was like, well, I don't really know anyone up there. And then when we got there, I remember saying to Brams, I was like, so like where will I be living so I can drop my bags there before I go? And he's like, oh, he goes, mate, I haven't really asked any of the boys yet, but I'm sure we'll sort something out. So we went on this 2-day army camp, and I was like 18-year-old kid. Just
torture.
Like, tiny as 70 kilos it would have been. Did it, and I just struggled through it. Like, didn't know anyone. And then after it, one of the boys was like, I don't know, the coach must have said to him, you've got to let this kid sleep at your house.
Look, I know, you know the weird new guy? You've got to let him stay.
So he let me, Joshy Campbell let me sleep at stay. He goes, mate, you can stay here for a couple of weeks. We'll find you somewhere to live. So it was him, one of his mates who was a surfer, and then the surfer's missus at the time. Yep. And it was just this little 3-bedder, like this little den in Varsity Lakes. And I stayed there, and then after 2 weeks, he was like, you can stay here for the year.
Oh,
so
really?
I just had my mattress on the ground in this little room, like dingy room. And
what were you doing for work? Just like...
So I was just labouring, like a kind of a chippy thing. Yep. One of the boys, Scott Smith.
Trade assistant?
Yeah.
Yep.
and he was building pergolas, and he just said, "I'll give you $100 a day or 150 a day." So I'd do that a few times a week.
That's all right.
I paid 150 in rent and just cruised up there. It was mad. Like, it was a mad house.
Yeah.
So, like, when I look back, it was some of the best times ever.
Yeah.
And I got to grow up pretty quick, obviously.
Yeah,
being out of home,
yourself.
straight out of school.
Was your bed on the floor?
Yeah, floor.
So just on the floor?
I remember we got the mattress. We went down to, what's the shopping centre down there?
Pack Fair.
Pack Fair.
Yeah.
Chucked it in the back of one of the boys' utes and
just straight on the deck.
drove it up there.
Oh, man.
Straight on the deck. Well, we didn't want the frame because I didn't know how long I was going to be down there for.
Yeah, and it's just annoying. Like, you don't need it. I was playing first grade with a mattress on the floor.
Really?
Yeah, I was still,
and
so like it was just on the floor, and I had like the two side tables with like the lights and stuff on it. So like people would come over,
On a drawer.
yeah, and people would come over and they'd look in, and I'd have like my computer and video, like my PS4 and it's not PS4 but PlayStation, that, and then a mattress on the floor. All my money went into like the PC and shit because I was like, fuck, I don't need anything underneath that.
Yeah, it was good, mate, because we had like the bloke who owned the house. He was a footy player and a roofer, but he's a good bloke. He was mad at the time too, like mad.
Oh, really?
Loved the party. And then the surfer, he's a legend. I still I'm still real good friends with both of them, but it was basically an open door policy at that house. So we had all our mates coming and going, all their mates coming and going.
You don't, like, at the time, you don't realise that this is the dream. Like, this is living the dream. Like,
yeah, well, it was kind of cool, 18 years old, but
yeah,
it was a cool little period of my life, and it lasted probably one full season, so 9 months or 10 months.
Yeah,
and then. What the question was, when did it all click?
Yeah, when did it all click? Yeah.
The question was, when did it all click? So at the end of that, I remember during the year, the Titans were like, come down, train with the 20s once a week, and we'll see what happens. Okay. And they were coming dead last at the time, and they were awful.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get a run from them, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is
Did that rattle you a bit? Like, I can't even get a run with the 20s.
Yeah, I remember I rang my manager, and I was like, I remember actually I went in one day, and they said, mate, we don't need you anymore. And like for next year, probably not going to need you. And I was like they're coming last. They hadn't won a game. And I was like, fuck, like it's probably over. So I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just go back, play union. Like, because all the boys are playing club rugby back home. Yeah. I was like, I'll just go play club rugby and go to uni or get an apprenticeship back in Sydney. Like, I've got to go home. I've got no money here or nothing. I remember ringing my manager saying, like, they've just shafted me. Like, I want to come home. Basically. I'm done. I was in my head. I was finished. Like, I thought, and I was fine with that too.
Yeah.
Like, I was happy to go home, to be with me mates, do an apprenticeship or do uni, and just live a normal life. And
just cruise.
Have a few beers with them every now and then.
Yeah.
Have a missus.
And I guess also in your head,
simple life.
In your head, you'd given it a go by going up.
In my head, I was like, I went out of my comfort zone and like I tried my best, but I didn't try my best.
1 year.
You know what I mean? Like I was out drinking, doing whatever, or whatever. But yeah, I was done, and I was okay with that because I was happy. Like, with everything. I was happy. So, but it got to that, and I was I'm going home, and then he had a bloke by the name Ryan Carr, who was a halfback. He coaches South 20s now at the moment, but he was a halfback at the time for Redcliffe.
Ryan Carr, sounds familiar. I probably would have played against him.
He might have been there when you were at the Bronx or something.
Yeah, and Clydesdale's probably played against him at the time.
And he was with my manager. He was a halfback. South signed him as a backup half to Adam Reynolds. And I remember my manager, he told me later, at the time he probably said, oh, South's what, yeah? But he told me later on, he goes, they've signed Ryan, and I just said, we've got a young kid. Can he come and train with the 20s, just do a pre-season?
But at the time he told you that Souths are keen on you.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, sweet.
So you thought you were wanted?
Oh, kind of, yeah. I knew because he's like, there's no money. He's like, and they're going to see how you go on pre-season. If you go all right, they'll probably sign you to a match payment or whatever they do.
Tiny.
At 20s. And when I rocked up, then I went to England on a trip away with the Gold Coast boys as like an end of season trip, and it was
bananas,
proper on there. And halfway through the trip, I was like, that's when it switched for me, and I was like, fuck, like this is my, like I'm going to a 20, which was a big deal back then when you're 19 years old. So it was my last year too, and I was like, this is like, I've got 1 year. I've got this shot. Like I've got to.
Yeah, you got to have a crack.
Go.
Yeah,
that's honestly where it clicked. It clicked in England like one night, and then I had like 4 or 5 days left.
Yeah,
demoned up. Didn't drink for the rest of the trip.
Oh, really?
Got home and I was like, I'm not drinking.
Oh wow! So it was that moment you were like, I'm not drinking. I'm fully committed to
Probably
this.
Probably demons hit me, but
but still,
that was it. I still remember it in England, and I got home into pre-season, and I was I'd just done a year of drinking with no training, like playing Colts up on the Gold Coast where you train twice a week.
Yeah, local league.
And I got in there and I was horrible, man, for the first few weeks. But the coach at the time, Ben Gardner, he's a hard man. But he said to me straight away, he goes, we kind of did training, and I remember after the first week, he's like, I want you to be like our 7 this year. And like, I'm going to train you as a 7 this whole preseason. You're going to be our 7.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck, like I'm not fighting for a spot here. Like,
yeah, okay, gave you confidence.
Yeah. And I struggled up to Christmas, but I didn't drink. It was the first time a long time where I hadn't had a drink.
Yeah.
And then I went all through preseason without drinking, and I just felt myself like, when you just something clicks.
Yeah.
Just to start
fit,
playing
healthy,
good like that. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was doing things on the field that I hadn't done. And it was kind of like, I didn't know what was going on at the time, but you just start doing things, and then that's when it clicked. And so I was on nothing, and then probably around 6 or 7, I was up training with the NRL team.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
far.
So it was like just like that.
So how far from round 6 to training with the first grade to England? What was the time period?
I would have gone to England October. Yeah, I would have gone to England October and started pre-season November 1st.
Wow! So that's like, what, 4 months, 5 months? You've gone from getting on going on the drink,
playing under 20s Colts.
Far out.
And then, I had a good start to the 20s year, and it just all clicked. Like, it was just a weird time.
Did you find yourself much happier off the field too? Because you were healthy, you were fit.
Yeah, I always miss that. Like,
I
with still
your mates.
do. Like all my mates are tradies and that, and like I love them to death.
Yeah,
and I miss that life where they work hard all week and they get to go just have a drink on the weekend, and
that camaraderie that they kind of have. Yeah.
But so I basically didn't see him. Well, I basically didn't see him for 6 months where I was trying to do this rugby league thing, and then it worked that first year, and I ended up training with the first grade squad, and then from there it literally just
kept building.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Far out. So did you take another year to debut?
So I finished the 20s year. Then the first year, so I only had 1 year of 20s, and the first year out of 20s, I think I debuted probably 10 games in. Yeah.
Okay.
I played about 7 games or maybe 10 games that first year off the bench.
Yep.
And then got dropped just before the semi-finals. That was in 2013.
2013.
So I didn't play the semis. South got knocked out by Manly.
Okay.
That was obviously a disappointing year where most people thought that South would probably win it.
Yep.
Year after, that was like me time basically. Like Majid said, we want you to be the 6th next year. You're going to have a full pre-season there. And we'll see how you go. So I got to train there. They moved Sutto to the edge. Sutto was sweet with it. And that was the best pre-season I've ever had. I went over to Arizona with Dylan Walker and Adam Reynolds.
What was that like going to Arizona?
That was awesome. We trained with the Gold Coast Suns, and it was just something different. pre-season is just a slog.
Yeah.
We got to do something different. It was a lot of running, but we're with an AFL team.
You're in America.
Just the 3 of us. We're in America. We
got
to go do things. We got to go see some stuff.
Yep.
We trained pretty hard.
Yeah.
We ended up coming back real fit. And then I was ready. I felt in myself I was ready to go again.
Yeah.
Tore me pec at the 9s.
Oh.
Tore me pec at the 9s, and I was just like, fuck.
As you would be.
I was off contract for the year after too, so I was like,
I don't
really know what's going to happen, but
and you'd played 7 NRL games.
I never really got down about it, but I was kind of just like, I've never been one to really get down about injuries, so it was just a normal. Like I thought, this is going to happen. Like this is meant to be. Whatever's meant to be is meant to be.
Yeah. Okay.
And I actually, like during that period, I was out for probably 20 weeks or something. which was a lot longer for a peck than usual.
Yeah,
but
it's a long time.
like I got to enjoy myself a bit again. Like,
yeah, okay, so
kind of
that
just
release.
let me hair down. I got to spend heaps of time with my mates back home. Like, kind of live that simple life, which was pretty cool. And then come back in, and like it was just the team was kind of like bubbling along. We had a real good squad. We were like one of the favourites, and we just weren't kind of hitting it.
Yep.
Came back in like around 17, I think, or 18.
In the first grade or reserve grade?
17, yeah. I had 1 week in reserve grade, then went up. And then I was on the bench and Sutto got injured, hurt his shoulder. I went in, we won, beat Canberra by 40 or 50, beat Newcastle by 50 next week, beat Manly, who were on the top of the table at the SCG. And it just went boom, boom, boom into the grand final.
Was that your first taste of like, here's the next big like half kind of, the media chat? Was that your first taste of it, or did you experience that?
No, that was just like I just burst on it. Like the year before, I kind of just came onto the scene. And
so you tasted a bit the year before.
There's a young kid.
Yep. Okay.
He'll probably take over 5'8" or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the year after, when I did finally come in, Sutto was injured. They're like, oh well, he's going to be the 5'8" for South.
So you tasted a little bit, so you were used to it. It didn't kind of take you off guard.
No. It was fun too. Like I had me, Alex Johnson, Kyle Turner, Dylan Walker,
far out,
Uppy Coruscant, Cam. We were all the same age,
young crew together.
And we were just like, we were in this team that was going awesome at the time, and we're just flying with them, and it was a pretty fun time. Yeah.
So that was it that year that you went on to win the grand finals?
We won the grand final that year. So I came back in around 17 or 18. We went straight through the whole way through.
So what it was like,
run.
Not the year, but the year before October, it was England. Year goes by.
Yeah, so that was 14. That would have been 2 years before, yeah.
Yeah, or two.
2 years from the grand final.
2 years, yep. And then 2 years you're sitting in a grand final, and I was pretty like when you actually, because a lot of the boys, when you talk about it, they're like, shit, like I didn't really think about that because it kind of gradually happens. But like when you sit back and think, like you're in England and you made that decision not to drink, led all the way to the finals of the NRL and a win.
I haven't thought about it like that.
Yeah, but it's true. That's what happened. Yeah. So that run to the finals, I mean, the pressure, was it immense? Like, because it would have been, as in, I don't know whether you felt it, but there was a lot of pressure on Rabbitohs to win that after all of the success they'd had in the past.
I reckon the older boys might have, like, us younger boys were kind of like, this is our first shot at it. If we fail, well,
you got another shot, maybe.
Yeah, we're young. Like,
and you're young and stupid.
Yeah,
and
we haven't failed before, so whatever. But yeah, I think maybe the older boys might have felt it, the boys that were there in those past years. But no, it was just kind of like good times. We were winning every week. You know what it's like when you're winning, you're on a high.
Roller
think
coaster.
No one can beat you.
Yep.
And it just went. We just kept winning, and it's a hard thing to explain, obviously, but it just happened. And
did you ever? Like it's hard because I guess when you're in the moment, you kind of just the moment's momentum just propels you into it, and you just kind of get lost in that momentum.
Same as like playing in good form and that.
Yeah.
You can't explain why, but you just keep doing things.
What was the feel like around the club? Was it real positive? Everyone was happy?
Yeah, it was. It was because it was obviously it was a bumpy. People forget it was a bumpy year. We started good, then we had like it was just we're up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Then we just got on this roll for 3 months or whatever.
Yeah,
and we won it, and it was a good. Obviously, it was a good feel around the joint. Like we were flying at the time. We had boys playing like career best form. And, Sam was leaving the club. Teo was leaving the club. Lottie's last year, so
had a lot
to play for. There's a bit of incentive there.
Yeah. What's something you remember from that week? Is there something that stands out when you look back at it?
Grand final week. The week leading up to it's the best, I think. The week after is obviously good, but the week leading up to it's awesome. Like there's just a buzz everywhere. Like,
especially Rabbits, that was big. Similar to Cronulla because it being so.
Yeah, we had massive turnouts at training, and it was just an awesome week. Like all your fatigue and everything goes away, and you're just in the moment, aren't you? Like we had a lot of momentum going in that final, and the week before when we played the Roosters, they were obviously defending premiers. I thought they were a better team than us, but I think they were a better team than us through the whole season since 13,
because they were
13,
minor
14,
premierships,
15,
weren't
16,
they?
So, yeah, they were a better team, but we were just we'll cruising
something to play for, kind of thing.
And once we got through that, it was kind of like it wouldn't say you'd think you won it, but
if you can get the Roosters done, your confidence to
and
beat
we were just
them.
like,
Yep.
Who'd
you play that?
Like, Bulldogs in the
Bulldogs,
grand final.
yeah, Bulldogs.
But we thought, we'll.
So take us back to running on the field for the grand final. What was that like, that memory?
It was cool. You don't remember much. It kind of just goes goes real quick, but we were just real calm about it. Like, the week before was a massive week too, people forget. And then the grand finals, we were pretty calm about it. It was an awesome atmosphere. I hadn't played at ANZ full, which was pretty cool. And obviously the Bulldogs fans are MAD too.
They wouldn't have sprayed you much.
MAD, the South fans aren't too far behind them.
Yep.
And it was just cool. It was a cool atmosphere.
Do you remember sitting in the sheds before, nervous or anything, or you're pretty confident?
Not really. No, there was no over the top nerves or anything, which was a bit weird. Yeah,
because you would have thought like Rabbits, you'd had, it was such a like pressure out from outside looking in. It looked kind of like the pressure was so immense because of the history of the club.
Didn't really have much to lose. We hadn't played many games. We weren't going to get crucified in the media for anything because we were just young kids.
Yeah.
It wasn't what we didn't care, but we probably just had no the pressure that looked like it was on us. It actually probably wasn't.
Yeah,
but
okay.
In saying that, blokes like Sam and those older blokes would have been they
probably sheltered you from the pressure too.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And so, being a part of a performance like Sammy Burgess that game, did that like from the outside looking in, we made a huge deal about that moment because it was such a heroic effort from a guy that was a leader in your side. Was it similar insight within the team? Was it talked about as in, wow, that was amazing? Or was it like, not really?
No,
it's like one of the boys.
Nah, just got, like obviously it's like big effort and that, but
it's more just like one of the boys.
Like, oh, you.
Yeah, okay.
And he wouldn't want people to be like that either. Like he's not that type of bloke. So yeah, I remember we went and seen him in hospital and stuff, but
probably sprayed him a bit less.
He's not that type of person that wants all the attention.
So it was more, you celebrated, you didn't really like it. It was an outside looking in thing more rather than an inside out thing. You were just kind of like, that's Sammy. He's going to do that every day of the week.
Yeah,
like,
we expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you win the game, I think it was Lottie saying that you sat after the game in the stadium or something like that.
Yeah, we obviously, I think most teams do it. You go out in the middle there and just have a beer together, and like there was 30 of us because that's who the boys were through the year. People forget that there's actually a squad of players that played through the year, and it's not just a 17 on the day. And like there was 30 of us that stood there and just had a beer together. And
when the hooter goes, what was the feeling when you won?
Oh, it was awesome. Like the game was a weird game. Like it was in the balance, and then we ran. I think the score was like 20 something to 6.
Yeah, it looked quite dominant at the end.
But it wasn't, and just it was a weird one. Like obviously Sam and they were crying and carrying on, but it's kind of just like, fuck, this is cool. Like,
oh, this is sick.
Now? Yeah, like
it's weird how different people handle.
Yeah.
I guess also you got to remember like the pressure on Sam leaving.
Yeah.
That relief.
Yeah.
Did you feel relief or did you just feel happiness? Like, how cool is this?
Bit of relief, not too much, but I was just more going, how cool is this? Like,
how sick is this?
And I had all the young boys there, so
yeah. And so the week after, obviously enjoyable. Did you go to Vegas or anything like that?
Yeah, so we did the week. I'm not the greatest drinker, but we did. I was on and off.
Yeah.
And then we did a week. We had the Prezzo on the Friday, so we went on the Sunday, and we had the Prezzo on the Friday.
Yeah.
And then about 6 or 7 of us, maybe 8, 6 or 7, went to Vegas on the Saturday, and we had probably 4 or 5 nights there together. And then I've never experienced like as hard a time as a flight home from Vegas. Like I'd get demons on the drink, and I was just like we left Vegas at 8 in the morning to fly to LA, but then our flight from LA because I was a tight ass, I booked LA to Brizzy back to Sydney.
No.
And it didn't leave till midnight, so I got to the airport at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. I got to the airport at LA at 9 a.m, but my flight wasn't till 12, and we just pulled up, and I was just
12 at night or 12 at midday.
12 at night. So we had like over 12 hours there, and it was just like you weren't allowed to check in till 7 or 8 at night, and you were just like didn't know what to do. Like you were laying on the ground. It was awful.
Just wrecked, eh?
It was awful. And Chris Grabsmore, I remember because I flew with Chris from LA to And he just, like, something happened. He just pulled him out of hospital or whatever. He'd been drinking too much. So he had his little hospital band on. And he had spew all over his shirt. He left his bag in the room, just left it all there. And I was with him and I just, like, said, I'm not sitting next to this bloke. Like, so he sat, like, somewhere at the front. I was near the back. And it was just torture. And then
Vegas won.
Yeah.
Chris nil.
Yeah, well, it was probably about 4-0, I reckon. That.
Oh, really? Yeah. We went with the Dragons. It was a similar situation. It got everyone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I embraced the grind of Vegas. Me and Joshua Miller embraced it. You got to embrace it.
Yeah, it's a tough. It can get tough over there.
You got to enter the void, bro. I'm telling you. Enter the void, and it's kind of like
trip home just hurt.
You know, like Bane in The Dark Knight Returns, how he says, I was actually born in the shadow. You've got to be like him. I was born in the shadow. Whereas like, you're Batman, bro. You were just visiting the shadow. And then was that?
It was a tough trip.
It was a tough trip. But the boy, is there lifetime memories that that you talk about with the boys sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. We had a few of us. So I was like Chris McQueen, Dave Tyrrell, me, Bryson.
Chris McQueen is one of the best blokes we've ever met in your life. Legend.
Bryson, Chris Greswell, Natty Neal, who's one of the like kind of fringy players, had a few games, and Keary was over there. Adam Reynolds was there.
Just loved it.
It was good. It was good. Yeah, we still every time we see each other, we
bring it up.
A few stories get brought.
Oh yeah, Joshy Miller. Joshy Miller played for the Raiders.
Yeah.
He always, every time he sees me, he just says Vegas.
Yeah.
And same with Trent Merrin. Every time I see him, I just go Vegas. Vegas. Oh man, good times. Okay, so yeah, you come back and then obviously you boys you struggled that next year. Or it was just solid.
We went on a roll. Like it was. Yeah. I think we won like 4 or 5 going in the GF, and then didn't lose a game in the Nines. Won the World Club. Won our first 3 or 4 at clubs. We hadn't lost in like
ages,
6 or 7 months.
Yep.
And then like I think it all just hit us, that kind of
mental fatigue
thing that we'd gone for so long, and we did a trip to Arizona after the GF for the preseason. The whole squad went, and then we started to get a few injuries. Adam got injured a few times. Sam was gone. Tio was gone. We had some new boys coming in.
Yeah.
So we were flying at the start of the year. We were still good through it. Like we got off to a cracking start.
Yeah.
Which ended up getting us into the semis, because I think at the back end we lost 6 or 7 in a row. Going into the semis.
Yep.
And then we lost to Cronulla. So I think like when people look back, they think, it was a horrible year, but actually, it was actually a really good year at the start for probably half the year, and then we just fell off the cliff, and it was disappointing, obviously, because we'd spoken about how we wanted to
back it up,
and we didn't. So yeah, it was disappointing.
And was that 2015 or 16?
That was 15.
15.
Yeah.
So coming into 16, was it kind of like, all right, let's for a fresh year, or did you lose a lot of confidence? Would that rattle your confidence a bit as a team, you reckon?
I reckon it did.
Yeah.
I reckon it did. We had the same plan, the same thing, but it wasn't working anymore.
Yeah. And I guess
things weren't working.
Yeah, and when you've got players like Sammy Burgess and Benny Teo that you can kind of like fall back on to make a big play or do something massive.
Yeah, and it was we never used it like as an excuse. So I was kind of like, what's going on? Like, but when you look back, we did lose a lot of good players.
You lose literally your 2 best forwards, most likely. Like Benny Teo, Sammy Burgess are hard things to. Yeah. Teo's an origin forward.
Isaac Luke, I think.
Yeah,
left at the end of that year.
He's massive for you.
15.
Yep.
It was disappointing, and then obviously 16 was an awful year. Started in the preseason, obviously, and it was just that was
one of those
horrible year of footy. But you got to take them. Like I think through the whole process, you got to take the good with the bad. You're gonna have good years. You're gonna have bad years. That's part of footy, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, tell me about it. Trust me.
Yeah,
I know, bro.
That's part of footy.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think a lot of people may not realise is like you can't redline at this ridiculous form your whole career. No. Even guys like Thurston that are like the greatest ever, he'll have years that aren't as good as his year before because
you can't. Yeah, you just hard. Can't. Like you probably don't remember any Thurston, but if you asked him personally, he'd probably tell you. Yeah. Maybe a couple of years when he was younger or whatever. Yeah. That he probably
didn't play as well as he, whatever.
Like his last 4 or 5 years.
Oh my god! But even ridiculous. you look at. Was it 2015 for him was like ridiculous.
Out of control.
And then 2016 was pretty good. Good at rep level.
He was still very good.
He's really good. and then this year, obviously the injury in that.
Yeah,
but like actually no. So 2016 he was ridiculous.
Yeah.
In 2015 he was solid, but I think there was a few years there where he was like, yeah. But that redlining of form is really hard. Like Greg Inglis, like I truly believe that Greg Inglis is like one of the most natural gifted athletes you'll ever see on a footy field.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous. Got any stories of some of the crazy stuff he's done? What's the craziest thing you've ever seen, like injury-wise, player play on with?
Oh, injury-wise. Obviously, the cheek was
pretty hectic.
Pretty big. I don't know. I can't remember too many that we had.
Yeah.
One of the toughest blokes, Joe Picker.
Joe Picker.
It's
got a tough
name.
name.
Blokes I've played with.
Really?
And a proper legend of a bloke.
Really?
A proper legend too.
Country bloke? Probably
he
a
was
country
there
bloke.
the one year we won it, and he was country boy.
Country,
he was
100% trusting.
He was the man.
Yeah.
Was the man.
Okay.
But everyone loved him.
Just
and then
tough...
he retired after that. So
how old was he?
He was only 26 or 27.
And he retired. Just said
he just wanted the simple life. He's back home now, shearing sheep and that. So
really?
So he loves it.
Literally the most trustworthy guy ever. If you're shearing sheep,
literally,
you've never told a lie.
Literally.
You can't tell a lie and shear sheep. It's like literally...
He's got his horses down there.
Those two things don't go together. Lion and shearing sheep. No way, bro. There's no way. Okay, so that whole drama, was that like... At the time, it would have been like hard. But when you look back, was it weird? Like the way everything kind of like... It was like really strange. There were so many different power dynamics that like it wasn't a normal footy issue.
No,
you know what I mean?
It wasn't. It was weird. It was... Yeah, I kind of haven't looked too much. I haven't reflected on it that much. Like maybe I will when I'm a bit older or whatever. But I reckon like obviously we were struggling at the time, even though it was pre-season. We'd struggled obviously the back end.
Yeah,
and even like personally struggled a little bit with footy and whatever. And then we got put in that situation, and then that happened. But you know, shit happens.
Yeah.
And then I think the aftermath was like took its toll.
Yeah, okay. So the initial
people...
incident was kind of like, yep, it happens. That sucks. But it was kind of the drag-on effect that kind of...
Yeah, it was... Yeah, it happened, and then it was kind of... People don't really realise how much happens actually, like... Or it affects people personally.
Yep.
Even like issues that aren't badly related, but they're reported on, and like everyone asks you about them and that.
Yeah.
It like even though yourself you're like, oh, I don't care, like whatever, but it takes a little bit of a toll on you.
Yeah.
And even if you're going at the time, nah, I'm sweet or whatever, like it doesn't bother me.
Yep.
It probably is, and it catches up to you, and like it probably did a few times through that year. Yeah.
And I guess even if you're trying to forget about it because everyone's always asking you about it, you can't forget about it. So like you can't really move on from it.
Yeah, and you have different feelings like sometimes you'll be like regret, and then like sometimes it'll be like anger.
Yeah, okay.
Like, towards the people, and then sometimes it'll be like a bit of remorse or whatever, and then like you just go through like a roller coaster of emotions of like that situation, and like what happened, who said what, what did he say about me, or like what did he do to me, or you know, what did he do to someone else, and you're just thinking about it, and like you might be over it, but then you think about it again or whatever, and it's always brought up, and it will be, and I'm sweet with it now.
Yeah,
like, I'm sweet with it, but I guess like when it happened, like the aftermath of it, I don't think it got dealt with probably properly. Yeah. But and I think that's why it lingered on.
Yeah, okay.
Lingered on through the whole entire year,
because I guess you were probably just saying it's all good, but in reality, if you ever maybe went to someone and said, "Look, I'm actually kind of this is a bit frustrating or whatever," maybe it could have gotten.
Yeah. It's just a weird, like,
it's a weird
situation because
it was weird.
It's like no one's really been through it, so it was like, what do you do when you get in a fight with the owner of your club? Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? But yeah, it was just a weird situation that no one had a manual on how to deal with it, or no one had dealt with it before. Yeah,
there's no prerequisite,
and it was
pre-existing,
it got highlighted because the club wasn't in a good position, and we weren't doing well. So it got highlighted. And that was probably.
And it's also, as you said, with those range of emotions, like because you're not a complete sociopath, you go through times of like doubting yourself, like maybe I've done the wrong thing, and then you go through times where you'd be like, no, wait a sec, like this is it. And you would lose it, like you'd just constantly be up and down because like because you actually care, like you do care. So you're sitting there going like, Matt, I just want things to go back to where they were, but they weren't like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it would be hard.
100% right. Like exactly what you said. you think this, think that, and then you're not clear. Like how you meant to go out and do what you need to do when you've got to
constantly question yourself, running in circles
inside your head, and that's no one else's fault.
Yeah,
that's just the reality of it.
And so you come to the Roosters. How did that all come about? Was that just reaching out to them, then reaching out to you?
Well, it's obviously after everything that happened, it was kind of like it was just not a mutual decision, but it was inevitable that I was going to move on, and I reckon I needed it too. I had a look rugby union, which was like a big, because I'd been through so much. I honestly just was like, I'm going to get out of this game and just go play rugby union, which I enjoyed anyway. Yeah. And like I was pretty serious about going, and then that kind of.
Did you have any like serious offers from union?
Yeah. I met with Czech a few times, and
was in the Australian.
Yeah. Michael, and we went over a few things, and we were pretty close. And then the Roosters come in pretty late, and there was a couple other clubs there, but it was all just. In the end, I had a few offers there, and Roosters were. I just thought was the best fit at the time, and for where I was at with my game and stuff like that. So what I needed.
What do you think stopped you from going to union? Because that would have been like the easiest mental decision.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing for me. Because a lot of it was mental. It was like, I got to get out of this. Like, this is crazy. This shit's crazy. I don't want to be this anymore.
And it'll follow you. Feel like if in rugby league, it'll kind of follow you a bit. With union, if you went there, it'll kind of be like done. It's done. Whereas like league, it's still going to be there or thereabouts until things start going on.
I knew if I'd left, if I'd gone to union, it would have been, that was it. Like, union doesn't get any really media attention in Australia, except when, the World Cup comes around or something like that. But as a player, you're not going to be... No. You're not scrutinised. Your personal life's not scrutinised. It's
completely different.
It's completely different compared to especially in Sydney NRL. And I was just like, it'd be cool. Like, and it'd be cool to go back to union. And obviously, I'd played it in that.
Yep.
But I knew if I stayed and like things didn't work out, it would just keep getting brought up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I'm sweet with it.
Yeah. So when you decided to go, what was the Roosters like? What pulled you into the Roosters? Was it like, Mitchell Pearce is here? Obviously their team is really good. They've had a few hard years. They've had a hard year, but like that squad is still ridiculously good.
Yeah, obviously I'd played against them.
Yeah,
3 or 4 years, and I knew how good they were, and they weren't having a great year. They had a heap of injuries. Mitchell was there. Like blokes like Jared, Siwa, like Boydo. And then I got to meet Robbo, and he just said the right things, I guess, and like made me feel comfy. And then spoke to Nick, and he was real like welcoming and made you feel wanted. Yeah. And then I just had that feeling at the time, and it was
the right thing.
That was the right thing to do. And I just thought, just got to back yourself.
What was first day of training like?
It was good. There wasn't many of us there.
Really?
So it was just the new lads, and then a couple of the younger boys. Yeah. It was like me, Flash Gordon.
Biggest legend ever.
Biggest legend ever.
Biggest legend.
It was just, it was cool. It was like, I don't know if Junior was there or not. I think Junior might have come the week after. The first week was mainly just the new boys. Yeah. But then like all the older boys started to roll in, except the internationals, and they were just an awesome bunch of boys. Like Junior and Orbo and all those blokes come in and make you feel real welcome, and they're all friendly too. And it was, I could just tell straight away, and you could just tell how tight they were. Like the playing group, the administration staff, everyone was just like one big family.
Kind of like all on the same page, kind of thing.
Everyone, yeah.
And when was the moment where you like, because like your pre-season would have been good. When did you feel like I'm back? Like that kind of stress, like I'm back. Yeah. Like, oh fuck.
Straight away, I think. Just got a vibe, like a good vibe there, and a good feeling. And then, like once you start, you know what it's like. Once you start, it starts like it's like a snowball, and you just start getting good. You start feeling good. just training better and better.
Was it one of those situations where you didn't know what you missed until you felt it again? You're like, oh, this is why I play footy. Like, this is why.
A little bit. Yeah, definitely. I reckon. Yeah, definitely.
Because like there can be times where you're like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Yeah. Why am I playing professional sport? And then you start, everything clicks, and you're like, I love this, man. Yeah. I love being with the boys. This is great.
It's a weird bunch of dudes. Like,
I
can't explain it. Like they've been together. There's a big group of them that have been together for so long.
Yeah,
and like they're just like best mates, and they're all like a bit quirky and weird.
Everyone's got their own little quirkiness.
They're a weird bunch of dudes. Some of them like Nas and Jared and that.
I love that, bro.
But they're so tight, man. Yeah. And they're like, they've got their little thing.
Yeah,
like,
good culture.
You're in it. Once you're in it, like they get everyone in it, and you're in it.
Yeah,
it's hard to get out of it. Like they've got a feeling around that club and like that group, and that's pretty special. If you look back to what they have done since Robbo's got there, like
crazy,
like 3 minor premierships and a premiership and that, and they probably should have been in a couple more GFs. Like, they just missed out, but they've got they've done those players that core group of boys have
done quite a bit.
Something there.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Probably get remembered after, and they've been loyal. A lot of them. Like, I'm sure a few of them could have moved on, but they've all stayed together and stuck with each other.
And the first round one, you know that like, was there internal pressure for yourself? We're like, this is it. This is kind of like the reckoning kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. You try not to think about it, but you know inside your head, like if you don't turn up to play, if I don't start the year well,
it's going to be constant.
You're probably you're not going to be there too long, especially like being at a new club. Although like I had the full support of Robbo and the other coaches and like Junior and the boys too. So we didn't know I was going to click straight away, but we started pretty hot in those first few games.
Yeah, I mean, and you could just see that. Yeah, as you were saying, like it looked like you were playing. You kind of same as 2014. Like you looked comfortable and everything looked like to be working. Confident, calm.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't compare them because
it's completely different.
I'm at a completely different stage, and like I feel like my game's completely different to how I played at South. But as I said before, I was just clear through the whole preseason of what I needed to do.
Yeah,
and then I was real clear when I'm playing of what I have to do and where I need to be and whatever else. And I've just got to do that, and that's all that Robbo and that are asking me to do.
Yeah.
So I just got to do my job basically.
People think that like it sounds so simple, but it can get real hectic sometimes.
In your head, you can complicate stuff, and you see it all the time. But simple's better.
Okay, so perfect year for you. What would be if you had a perfect year this year? What would be the end result? Where would you be?
Obviously, everyone.
Yeah, GF.
You want to do GF, obviously. So that's obviously the perfect year, but. I just want to enjoy it, man, and like we're in a good place at the moment with footy, and like I just want to see all the boys happy, and just want to be happy off the field, want to be happy on the field at training.
Yep.
Obviously, you want the success to go with it, but it's not always going to be. You're not always, only one team's going to win it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You do everything you can to make it you, but that's all you can really ask for and do, isn't it?
And what's the best prank that you've ever seen in a footy team? Best prank?
I wouldn't be able to.
That would be able to say that you can say.
I don't really know.
Really? You're in the car. Walking home, you'll be like, "Oh, it was the prank."
No, they come up with some. There can't be saying on camera, but. I don't really know, pranks.
Okay, ask all the boys his favourite rapper of all time. Obviously you're a country lad. Eminem? Yeah, 100%. Like, people forget how good he is. Yeah. He changed the whole game. Ridiculous. Favourite movie of all time?
Django.
Oh, really? That's such a good movie. How good's DiCaprio in that?
Oh.
And Jamie Foxx.
I love all his movies. What's his name? Tarantino.
Yeah, he's a man. Did you watch The Hateful Eight or whatever?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
Is it always so quirky, like so weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is sick. If you could have a billboard anywhere saying anything, what would it be?
That's a weird question.
Bro, this rattles everyone. It rattles everyone.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I either. I asked
Where'd you get that from?
I got it from Tim Ferriss' podcast.
Oh, really?
Do you listen to podcasts?
Not really.
Not really? You should.
I want to listen to Joe Rogan ones. I feel the boys.
Yeah, it's good.
Maps and that always listen.
I've listened to so much of him. I can't listen to it anymore because I've heard everything he has to say. Yeah. But podcasts are good, bro. They're so good.
Yeah.
Because like you can go to the gym and just put them in your ear and fucking cruise. Toughest period. Well, obviously that'd be pretty obvious. Toughest period in your career.
Yeah, that 2016.
I mean, tough. And how long you signed at the Roosters? Another year?
I got another year.
Yeah, so. I think that's it, bro. Got everything.
Sweet.
Faddle. Oh, that's forward. Forward pass, Mr. Cummins, you dickhead. Well, I can't speak. Forward a mile. He's let it go. That one, Stevie Wonder is in. Now 5 yards forward. Well, I can't speak.